the man who sold engineering to children could save Christmas in 1918, but could not save his own empire after 1961. At its peak, the A.C. Gilbert Company had millions of American kids obsessed with building bridges, assembling motors, and mastering chemistry. Then, its founder died, and within 6 years, everything was gone. How does a company that taught a nation to build forget how to survive? In 1909, Alfred Carlton Gilbert stood at a crossroads, fresh from Yale, pockets lined not with medals or diplomas, but with the crumpled bills he'd earned performing magic on vaudeville stages. His hands, once busy with sleight of hand and Olympic pole vaults, now shaped something different, a business built on wonder. With $5,000 borrowed from his father and a partner named John Petrie, Gilbert opened the Maisto Manufacturing Company in New Haven. Their first products were magic sets, boxes packed with shiny rings, secret compartments, and the promise that any boy could become a master of illusion. But for Gilbert, these kits were more than tricks. Each was a small stage, a lesson in confidence, a way to turn the thrill of performing into something you could hold in your hands. Night after night, Gilbert's magic shows paid his tuition. Sometimes he earned $100 in a single evening, more than most men made in a month. But the real payoff came in the factory, where he watched ordinary materials become objects of fascination. Maisto's magic sets sold across the country, their name a nod to the mysterious, the unknown, the sense that anything was possible if you learned the right moves. Gilbert's philosophy was simple. Toys should teach children to do, not just to watch. The leap from the stage to the factory floor was a leap from illusion to competence, from applause to the quiet satisfaction of making something real. In the swirl of sawdust and steel, the groundwork was laid for a new kind of childhood, one where magic would soon give way to engineering. The idea arrived in a rush of iron and sparks. In the fall of 1911, Alfred Carlton Gilbert sat by the window of a New Haven train, watching work crews hoist steel girders into place for the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad's electrification project. Where most saw a tangle of beams and wires, Gilbert saw possibility. A child's hands assembling the very skeleton of the modern world. That night, he cut cardboard strips at his kitchen table, bending and bolting them into tiny frameworks, the first prototypes of what would become the Erector set. He took the idea to a local toolmaker, trading cardboard for stamped steel. The result was something new, hollow girders punched with holes, ready to be joined by nuts and bolts, strong enough to build bridges, cranes, even moving machines, scaled down, but unmistakably real. In 1913, Gilbert secured United States Patent 1,066,809, protecting his design for a toy that mirrored the age of steel and electricity. The debut came that same year at the New York Toy Fair, where the Maisto Erector structural steel builder entered a crowded market dominated by wooden blocks and British Meccano sets. But Gilbert's invention offered more than imitation. It put power in a child's hands. Early Erector sets arrived in red metal boxes, packed with beams, gears, and a small electric motor. The promise was clear. This was not just a toy, but a toolkit for invention. Gilbert's advertisements, bold, direct, and laced with his own showman's flair, called out to boys who wanted to build like real engineers. In a world shifting from magic to machines, the Erector set was a tangible answer to a father's faith and a child's imagination. It was the first step in turning play into practice, and belief into competence, one steel girder at a time. Gilbert never stopped raising the bar for what a toy could be. By the early 1920s, the company's ambition sprawled far beyond the clang of steel girders. Chemistry sets appeared on shelves, heavy wooden boxes filled with glass beakers, real chemicals, and instruction manuals that promised the secrets of the laboratory to any child with a steady hand. These kits were not watered down or timid. They were invitations to experiment, to risk failure, to make real discoveries. For many, the first whiff of sulfur, or the fizz of a home-brewed reaction, was a taste of adulthood. Science, not as distant theory, but as something you could touch, smell, even stain your fingers with. Gilbert's pursuit of hands-on science reached its most audacious in 1950, when the U.S. Gilbert Atomic Energy Lab hit the market. Priced at nearly $100, the set included a Geiger counter, a cloud chamber, and actual uranium ore, radioactive but legal. The message was clear: the atomic age belonged to those willing to understand it from the inside out. Parents and teachers debated the risks, but for Gilbert, competence was worth a little danger. In 1941, the Gilbert Hall of Science opened in New York, a public cathedral to the idea that children could become inventors, not just consumers. The company's identity was no longer just about building bridges and towers. It was about building minds, one experiment at a time. By 1916, the company name on every red metal box had changed. Misto was gone, replaced by the bold, unmistakable stamp of A.C. Gilbert. The new identity matched its ambitions. No longer just a workshop in New Haven, the A.C. Gilbert Company stood as a force in American childhood, its reach stretching from city department stores to rural hardware shelves. Gilbert's own voice became a brand, his signature style of direct, almost evangelical advertising, calling out from the pages of the Saturday Evening Post. He didn't just sell toys. He lobbied Congress, co-founded the Toy Manufacturers of America, and stood before cabinet secretaries in 1918 to argue that play was as vital to the nation's future as steel or wheat. That year, while war rationed everything from sugar to rubber, Gilbert's persuasion helped keep toy factories open, earning him the nickname, the man who saved Christmas. But the company's power wasn't just in rhetoric. In 1938, Gilbert acquired the American Flyer line, adding sleek electric trains to his arsenal of invention. These weren't just toys. They were miniature worlds, humming with the promise of motion, electricity, and control. The American Flyer trains ran on real tracks, with switches and signals that echoed the big railroads outside. For a generation, the A.C. Gilbert Company was more than a business. It was an institution, shaping the childhoods of millions, promising that anyone, with the right set and a little patience, could build something that moved, something that worked. The company's stature seemed unshakable, its founder a spokesman for an entire philosophy of childhood. Yet beneath the surface, the very strengths that made Gilbert's empire so visible would one day make its collapse all the more shocking. A C. Gilbert's retirement in 1954 was supposed to be a handoff, not a surrender. Yet the moment the founder stepped back, the company's sense of direction wavered. His son, A.C. Gilbert Jr., inherited a business built on more than just patents and product lines. It was an empire fueled by his father's restless belief that children could become inventors, not just consumers. But belief is not easily transferred. Where the elder Gilbert had filled every corner of the factory with his presence, punching the time clock alongside workers, walking the floors at midnight, insisting that toys teach hands-on competence, his successor faced a different world. The red metal boxes and chemistry kits still lined store shelves, but the pulse behind them grew faint. Decisions in the boardroom reflected uncertainty. Some managers pushed for cost-cutting, others eyed the new plastic fad sweeping the market. The company's core, steel, glass, the real heft of invention, felt increasingly out of step with a culture tilting toward the flicker of television screens. Yet the true weakness ran deeper than the market. Without Gilbert's showman's energy and stubborn vision, the company drifted. The old promise that a child could build a bridge, wire a motor, split an atom, gave way to hesitation. By the time A.C. Gilbert died in 1961, the company was already searching for an anchor. Its soul no longer welded to the man who had built it. The question lingered in every silent factory corridor. Could a company founded on one man's philosophy survive without him? Or was the real collapse happening from within? In 1961, Jack Rather took control, promising revival through a new strategy, cheaper materials, streamlined production, and a focus on brand recognition over tradition. The familiar red metal kits faded, replaced by plastic sets that felt lighter in every sense. The factory floor, once alive with the clang of steel and the hum of invention, grew quieter as jobs vanished and the company's identity thinned. Meanwhile, television swept through American homes, offering children instant stories and effortless entertainment. The careful work of building, the satisfaction of tightening a bolt or mixing a solution, could not compete with the glow of the screen. Erector sets and chemistry kits, once symbols of patience and creativity, became outmoded in a world that now moved at the speed of broadcast. By 1967, the numbers were inescapable. Sales collapsed. Bankruptcy was filed in federal court. Erector Square closed, ending more than 50 years of invention. 2,500 workers lost their jobs almost overnight. The company's assets were auctioned, its brand scattered. The collapse was more than financial. It marked the end of an era when childhood was built piece by piece, not consumed in a flicker of light. Today, childhood is a spectator sport. Screens deliver stories, but few build with their hands. Gilbert's empire vanished soon after he did, raising a question that shadows every new technology. Is it invention, or the inventor's belief, that truly shapes a generation's sense of possibility? Share your thoughts below.